1. The power of a bold promise-y phrase "you won't believe what happened" is not just a statement. It's a challenge. It tells your audience, this story is so unusual. Your normal expectations will be wrong. Your curiosity isn't just invited, it's demanded. There is something here that will shock, delight, or unsettle you. In storytelling, this is called a curiosity gap. You give the audience just enough information to make them desperate to know more, but not enough to satisfy them without listening to the full story. 2. Why this phrase hooks the brain. In psychologists talk about the Zeigarnik effect, the brain's tendency to remember and fixate on incomplete information. When you hear "you won't believe what happened," your mind instantly starts asking, what could be so unbelievable? Is it good or bad? How does it involve the cousin? Did it affect the marriage? That mental itch demands to be scratched. The only way to scratch it, hear the rest of the story. 3. The emotional triggers inside the phrase. This line works because it hits multiple emotional triggers at once. Surprise. The promise that the outcome isn't what you'd expect. Suspense. You don't know if the surprise is positive, negative, romantic, or dangerous. Urgency. The won't believe element makes it sound like a rare, one-of-a-kind moment. Fear of missing out. FOMO. If you stop here, you'll forever wonder what the shocking moment was. This combination makes it almost irresistible in drama-based and romance-based storytelling. 4. The flexibility of unbelievable. The brilliance of this phrase is that unbelievable is open-ended. It doesn't reveal whether the event is shocking in a good way. Romantic confession, unexpected kindness, secret revealed, or in a bad way. Betrayal, danger, humiliation, because it could be anything. The audience has no way of predicting the exact outcome, and unpredictability keeps them watching. 5. The shift from calm to chaos. Look at how it works with the rest of your title. Part 1. My husband's cousin came to stay is calm and factual. Part 2. The dash is a pause, a moment of suspense. Part 3. You won't believe what happened is emotional chaos. The door flings open and the audience is pulled into the storm. This sharp tonal shift makes the story feel alive, urgent, and worth paying attention to. 6. Direct address to the audience. Be saying "you won't believe." You're speaking directly to the viewer, reader. It's no longer just your story. It's an invitation for them to become emotionally involved. This creates connection, feels like a private conversation. Challenge makes them want to prove they can believe it, which means they'll stick around to hear the full thing. Intimacy. They feel trusted, as if you're letting them in on a personal secret. 7. The unbelievable in romantic and emotional storytelling. For the kind of content you create, love and lies, unbelievable moments often come in the form of forbidden romance. Feelings develop where they shouldn't. Betrayal. Trust is broken in a devastating way. Secrets revealed. Long-hidden truths come to light. Unexpected rescue or support. Someone steps up when no one else would, because your audience already expects heightened emotions. The unbelievable promise makes them anticipate intense emotional payoff. 8. The risk and reward of this phrase. Making such a bold claim means you have to deliver. If the unbelievable event turns out to be ordinary, the audience will feel cheated. That means the twist or reveal must be something they truly couldn't have guessed easily. It should be emotionally satisfying, shocking, but also making sense once they know the whole backstory. Ideally, it should escalate the emotional stakes, not just end the story. 9. The mystery layer. You won't believe what happened is essentially a locked box in the audience's mind. They can shake it, guess what's inside, but they won't know until you open it. In your title, that locked box contains a family dynamic, husband plus cousin, a domestic setting, your shared home, an emotional explosion, the unbelievable event. This combination is tailor-made for drama because it mixes familiarity, family life, with mystery, shocking twist. 10. Why it works better than just stating the event. If you revealed the shocking event in the title, for example, my husband's cousin confessed his love to me, it would still be interesting, but less powerful. Why? The audience no longer has the thrill of guessing. The emotional journey becomes about how it happened, not what happened. You lose the open loop that keeps them curious. By hiding the actual event and using "you won't believe what happened," you keep both the what mystery and the how emotional journey. 11. The language pattern of viral story titles. Many viral emotional and drama story titles use this pattern: ordinary event, extreme claim of surprise. Examples: I met my best friend's brother. You won't believe what he said to me. She just wanted a ride. You won't believe where we ended up. We were just having dinner. You won't believe who showed up. Your title fits perfectly into this proven high curiosity structure. 12. Emotional stakes implicit even without knowing the details. This phrase hints that relationships will change. Someone's trust may be tested. A decision will have to be made. The normal family situation will not stay normal after the event. These stakes keep the emotional engine of your story running from start to finish. 13. The voice and tone in performance. If you're narrating this on YouTube, how you say this line matters. Lower your voice slightly, like you're revealing a forbidden secret. Lean in, physically or vocally, to draw listeners closer. Add weight to "won't believe." This is the emotional punch of the line. Example narration delivery: my husband's cousin came to stay. Pause. And you won't believe what happened. This pacing mirrors the psychological suspense the dash already created. 14. The audience's emotional journey from this line. When they hear "you won't believe what happened," the audience experiences curiosity spike. I need to know. Speculation. Maybe it's this, or maybe it's worse. Anticipation. The reveal is coming. I need to stay. By the time you start telling the story, they're already emotionally committed. 15. How this sets up your stories. Climax. Because the title promises something unbelievable, your story will naturally build toward one central climactic moment. That means every scene leading up to it should drop hints, misdirect, or build tension. The reveal should feel earned, not random. The audience should think, I didn't see that coming, but now it all makes sense. 16. Longevity of the structure of this formula. Ordinary setup plus dramatic pause plus unbelievable claim is timeless because it plays on human nature. We are wired to be drawn to contrast. Normal gives shocking. Be addicted to suspense. Feel satisfaction when a mystery is solved. That's why stories like yours can resonate for years. 17. Examples of unbelievable in different directions. Just to show how open this phrase is. Romantic. The cousin confesses feelings and it shakes. The marriage. Betrayal. The cousin reveals the husband's secret. Danger. The cousin brings trouble into the home. Emotional. The cousin does something deeply selfless and life-changing. The audience doesn't know which direction you'll go. And that's the beauty. 18. Your audience's emotional profile because your channel Love and Lies focuses on mature, emotional and romantic drama. Your viewers love passionate tension, secrets, and betrayals. Relationships tested by outsiders. Endings that leave them feeling deeply moved. You won't believe what happened is the perfect bait for those desires, because it promises something big, messy, and emotional. 19. Delivering on the promise. You've hooked them. The unbelievable moment must be memorable. Change the characters or relationships in a lasting way. Leave the audience with an emotional aftertaste. Shock, sadness, hope, anger. Closing parenthesis. If the event meets those conditions, they'll not only watch but also share the story, because they'll want others to feel the same reaction. 20. Final takeaway on part 3. You won't believe what happened is the emotional anchor of your title. Without it, the story is just a diary entry. With it, the story becomes a magnet for human curiosity. It challenges the audience, promises emotional payoff, keeps the twist hidden until the right moment, aligns perfectly with your romantic drama niche. It's the final pull that gets someone to click, watch, and feel. When you look at this title, you see a dash separating the calm, almost mundane statement, "My husband's cousin came to stay," from the charged, mystery-filled "You won't believe what happened." On the surface, it's just punctuation, but in narrative structure, especially in click-worthy storytelling, this dash functions like the hinge of a door. One side is a quiet, ordinary setup. The other side is chaos, emotion, and shock. And the dash is the moment the door swings open. Let's unpack its importance in layers. 1. The dash as a storytelling tool in fiction, especially in spoken or visual storytelling. A dash isn't just a grammatical choice. It's an emotional pause. Creates suspense. The dash forces the listener to stop for a split second before continuing. That gap builds a micro moment of tension in the brain. It's like someone saying, "Something happened, but before I tell you, take a breath." Signals a shift in tone. Everything before the dash is calm and informational. Everything after it is emotional, dramatic, and unpredictable. The audience subconsciously understands. What you've heard so far was just the warm-up. Now the real story begins. Invites the imagination to run wild. The pause makes the mind start guessing. What could have happened? Was it shocking, romantic, dangerous, scandalous? In that tiny moment of waiting, the audience's curiosity skyrockets. 2. How the dash separates two worlds. Think of the title as two separate universes. Before the dash, stability, routine, predictability. After the dash, disruption, surprise, heightened emotion. The dash is the exact point where those worlds collide. It's like, I was cooking dinner quietly, then the phone rang with news that changed my life. In your title, "My husband's cousin came to stay," then something happened that you could never predict. The dash works like a cinematic cut between Act 1 and Act 2 of a movie. 3. Why this pause works in emotional storytelling for stories like the ones you tell on Love and Lies. Pacing is critical. You need moments where the audience is leaning forward, desperate for the next beat. The dash does exactly that because it breaks the sentence rhythm. This slight disruption makes people mentally perk up. It teases without revealing. The audience knows something's coming but doesn't know what. And that uncertainty is addictive. It reflects real-life storytelling. When someone is telling you gossip in person, they'll pause dramatically before the shocking part. The dash is the written version of that. 4. The emotional function of the pause, the tiny silence before revealing the shocking part, does more than build curiosity. It prepares the listener emotionally. Without the dash, my husband's cousin came to stay and you won't believe what happened, gives this feels rushed and less suspenseful. With the dash, my husband's cousin came to stay, you won't believe what happened, gives the listener feels like something important is about to drop and they need to brace themselves. This small emotional preparation makes the reveal more satisfying because the brain has time to anticipate. 5. The dash as a drop point in music. There's a concept called the drop. That moment before the beat kicks in when everything falls silent for a second. The dash is your storytelling drop. Here's what it does. Holds the audience right at the edge. They know something is coming. They want it immediately. But the pause forces them to wait just long enough to make the reveal hit harder. Gives you power as the storyteller. The dash is like holding up your hand and saying, wait for it. You control when the shock lands. And that control is key to pacing a good dramatic or romantic story. 6. Psychological impact of the pause. There's science behind why this works so well. The human brain loves incomplete patterns. When you pause mid-story, you create what's called an open loop in the listener's mind. An open loop is like an itch that must be scratched. The brain must know the ending to feel satisfied. The dash is your open loop creator. It opens the door, but makes the audience peek inside before stepping through. Example: I opened the door and froze. Your brain immediately asks, why did you freeze? What was there? That question keeps you hooked. 7. How this dash works with your specific story setup. My husband's cousin came to stay. You won't believe what happened. The dash is doing extra work because the first part of the title sounds completely ordinary. My husband's cousin came to stay could be the start of a harmless anecdote. The dash says, no, this isn't harmless. Something intense, maybe scandalous, is about to come. This contrast between normal and shocking is what makes emotional drama so irresistible. The dash is the bridge between those two extremes. 8. Pacing the dash in spoken storytelling. If you were narrating this as part of your YouTube content, the dash would be delivered as a slight pause in your voice, maybe 1 to 2 seconds, a shift in tone from casual to intense or conspiratorial, maybe even a change in volume, slightly quieter, as if sharing a secret. Example narration: my husband's cousin came to stay. Pause. Lean in. You won't believe what happened. This performance element turns a simple sentence into a hook. 9. The dash as a foreshadowing device. Pause also acts as a silent warning to the audience. This is not going where you think it is. Foreshadowing works best when it's subtle, and the dash is one of the most subtle forms of it. It tells the audience they're about to leave the safe, predictable world and enter the unknown. 10. Examples from other dramatic titles here are a few similar structures where the dash creates suspense. I thought he was just helping me move. Then he whispered something I'll never forget. We went for a simple walk. What I saw made my blood run cold. She called me out of the blue and changed my life forever. Without the dash, these sentences lose the punch. With the dash, they become tension-filled mini-dash stories. 11. How the dash shapes audience expectation. By the time the audience hits the dash, they are primed for impact. This expectation is powerful. They expect change. The story is about to turn in a new direction. They expect emotion, drama, shock, maybe romance or betrayal. They expect personal stakes. Because you've made the setup personal with my husband's cousin, the dash tells them, get ready. This is where the fire starts. 12. The dash's role in retention for YouTube storytelling. Keeping the audience's attention past the title is everything. The dash's pause, even in text, mimics the structure of your spoken intro. Calm first statement gives micropause, gives emotional cliffhanger. This keeps people hooked long enough to start watching or listening. Once they're past the dash, they're emotionally invested in finding out what happened. 13. Why this works better than other punctuation. You could replace the dash with a comma or and, but it would lose impact. Comma, too soft, flows too easily, no tension, and feels like a continuation, not a break. Dash forces a stop, creates a dramatic breath, sharpens focus on what comes next. The dash is like a drumbeat before the curtain rises. 14. The emotional contract you create with the dash. When you use a dash in a title like this, you're making a promise to your audience. What's coming after this pause will surprise you, and it's worth the wait. Breaking that promise would disappoint them, but fulfilling it builds trust and keeps them coming back for more stories. 15. Using the dash as a chapter divider. If you think about your story in 6 parts, like your usual video structure, the dash is where part 1 ends and part 2 begins. Part 1. Calm setup, cousin arrives. Dash. The exact turning point. Emotional pause. Part 2 onward. Escalation into the dramatic, romantic, or shocking core of the story. It's a clean, invisible chapter break in the title itself. In short, this tiny punctuation mark isn't tiny at all. It's the invisible hand that pushes your audience from comfort into curiosity, from domestic calm into narrative chaos. Without it, your title is just a fact. With it, your title becomes a story waiting to explode. The opening of a title is like the opening scene of a movie. It sets the tone, defines the characters, and plants the seeds for the drama that will unfold. In this case, the phrase "my husband's cousin came to stay" immediately introduces a domestic and intimate setting, but one with immense potential for emotional complexity, secrets, and unexpected events. Let's explore its depth and layers. 1. The family link. Why husband's cousin matters. Choice of words here isn't random. Instead of saying a friend, a neighbor, or even a stranger, the title specifically names "my husband's cousin." This creates a built-in backstory and dynamic proximity to the husband's side of the family. The cousin is not your cousin. They belong to your husband's bloodline, which means your relationship with them is one step removed. This can bring in subtle layers of loyalty and trust, but also suspicion and discomfort. Family ties imply history, shared childhoods, inside jokes, maybe even family rivalries that predate your marriage. The unique position of a cousin in family hierarchy. A cousin is usually considered close enough to be trusted, but distant enough for personal boundaries to be more flexible. They are not immediate family like a sibling, but they are not strangers either. This makes them perfect for a storyline where lines could blur. Potential for tension between you and your husband, because this is his cousin. Your husband's emotional investment may differ from yours. If the cousin causes problems, will your husband take your side or theirs? If you grow too close to the cousin, will your husband see it as betrayal? Even small actions, too much friendliness, too much trust, could become emotional landmines. 2. The act of coming to stay. Why it's loaded with potential. Wording here doesn't say came to visit or dropped by. It says came to stay, a phrase that carries weight, suggesting extended time together. Staying means sharing mornings, nights, meals, and everyday life. The cousin isn't just a guest for a few hours. They will integrate into your home routine, giving ample time for personalities to clash, bonds to form, or secrets to slip. Invasion of private space. Home is your private sanctuary when an outsider, even family, moves in. Privacy shrinks. Bedrooms, bathrooms, the kitchen all become shared territory, making it harder to hide personal habits or secrets. Financial and emotional stress. Hosting a guest can strain household budgets, extra food, utilities, etc. But more importantly, it can strain emotional comfort. You might need to adjust your schedule, suppress certain conversations, or deal with disruptions to your peace. Reason for staying. The title doesn't explain why the cousin is staying. That omission is intentional. It leaves the audience wondering, is the cousin escaping a bad breakup? Did they lose their job or home? Are they visiting for a happy reason, like a wedding, or hiding from a dark situation? The reason for their stay will heavily influence the tone. It could be sympathetic, tense, or outright suspicious. 3. The perspective. Why it's told from my youth. Choice of first-person narration. My husband's cousin instead of a man's cousin instantly personalizes the story. It frames the events from your emotional lens, which creates intimacy with the audience. Viewers feel like you are directly confiding in them. You are not reporting cold facts. You are sharing something that happened in your life, something that still lingers in your memory, invites bias as the storyteller. You might present events with your own emotional coloring. Maybe you found the cousin charming, annoying, suspicious, or irresistible. Your personal perspective shapes the truth the audience hears. Hints at secrecy. If this was just a harmless visit, there would be no need for an emotional confession. The might tells us this experience affected you deeply enough to make you the central witness, maybe even the central player, in what happened. 4. The subtext of relationships. If, before any plot unfolds, the setup implies certain possible emotional pathways. You and your husband's dynamic. Does your marriage feel stable? Or is there already tension? The cousin's arrival might worsen cracks that already exist. You and the cousin's potential bond. Will your relationship with the cousin be friendly, formal, distant, or unexpectedly intimate? The lack of direct blood relation could make it easier for unexpected feelings to develop. A common thread in emotional romantic, and dramatic stories. Family politics. Every family has unspoken rules, old resentments, and favoritism. The cousin's stay might revive family gossip, bring out hidden grudges, or cause alliances to shift. 5. Atmosphere and setting. Before anything dramatic happens, the mere fact that someone new is staying changes the energy of a home. Physical changes. A guest bedroom being prepared, the smell of clean sheets, an extra toothbrush in the bathroom. Behavioral changes. People act differently around guests, more polite, more guarded, sometimes more performative. Emotional changes. Even small moments, like making breakfast together or walking into the living room in your pajamas, can feel more loaded when there's someone else in the house. This is important because it subtly prepares the audience for whatever unbelievable event is coming. The home, once a stable space, is now in flux. 6. The implied time frame. You don't know exactly how long the cousin will stay, and that mystery can heighten tension. If it's just a few days, the drama must unfold quickly. If it's weeks or months, tension can build slowly, allowing for deeper emotional connections or resentments to grow. The uncertainty of how long mirrors the uncertainty of what will happen. 7. The audience's immediate questions. This part of the title works because it's incomplete. It invites curiosity. Upon hearing "my husband's cousin came to stay," the audience's mind races with possibilities. Why is she staying? What's their personality like? Charming, mysterious, rude, overly friendly? Will they cause trouble? Or be the victim of trouble? Will they leave peacefully? Or will something explosive happen before they go? These unanswered questions make the opening phrase a perfect hook. 8. Potential emotional tones. Depending on how you build the story, this starting point could lead in many directions. Romantic tension. The cousin could be unexpectedly attractive or emotionally supportive, creating forbidden chemistry. Family betrayal. The cousin could bring news or secrets that cause arguments or heartbreak. Hidden danger. The cousin could be hiding something dangerous, debts, criminal ties, or an abusive ex. Unexpected friendship. It could be about deep emotional bonding that changes your life forever. This flexibility means the audience cannot predict the story just from part 1, which is exactly why it works so well. 9. How this phrase sets up the rest of the title. First part is calm, almost ordinary, a cousin staying over. But it is that everyday normality that makes the twist later in the title. You won't believe what happened. So powerful. The bigger the contrast between the setup and the outcome, the more satisfying the drama will feel. Think of it like lighting a candle in a quiet room before a storm hits. The calm makes the coming chaos even more intense. 10. Emotional engagement strategies for this part. If this were a YouTube video or a spoken story, you would expand this part by describing the cousin's arrival in sensory detail. What they looked like, how they hugged or didn't, the tone of their voice, sharing your first impressions. Did you feel excited, wary, curious, irritated? Noting small but telling details, the way they unpacked, the expression in your husband's eyes when they spoke, the silence that fell during dinner, dropping tiny hints of what's to come without revealing it. I had no idea how much that knock on the door would change everything.